Hello all. Hello. How y'all doing? So, I know I said I'm taking a social media break, which I am, but I felt such an intense calling that I needed to go live in here just to deliver a transmission to you of just messages that I've been receiving in my meditations and just to help anchor in some peace and some light into the grid right now. So, yes, we are in a very, very strange and chaotic time, but I want to promise you that everything is actually happening all in order and something really beautiful is going to be born of this. So it's just really, really important as aware beings, as conscious creators, that we stay out of fear and we just hold our light and the peace frequency within us, because the way that we perceive things and the way that we respond to things is going to make a very, very big impact on the unfolding of everything from these events. And when we come in from a place of peace, when we're talking to family members, when we're talking to friends, when we're talking to coworkers, etc., or just out and about in your neighborhood, kind of, this is everywhere you go. This is what's being talked about, the C virus, right? And the unfolding of events. It's a way to connect right now. It's kind of like everybody, I went out for dinner with a new friend the other night. That's what we talked about, right? So when you come from a place of peace around it, that ripples out through the matrix and kind of makes this whole transition period, which is very scary for a lot of people and very chaotic for a lot of people. It makes it more... It reminds them of the peace and the trust within them, right? Because whatever we're holding within us, we project that out around us and we begin to see that around us, right? So, I was in the dog park yesterday talking to a friend about kind of like the unfolding of situations. We're on lockdown here in Austria. They're closing the borders, like everything's shut down besides chemists and grocery shops. And that's going to be the case for 2 to 5 weeks minimum. We're not really sure. And just kind of talking to them, what's happening. The kids are going to be out of school for 5 weeks minimum. And he had said, you're just, the way that I love listening to you speak, the way that you talk about it is so peaceful. And it's like, well, to me, this is actually an incredible time for humanity to take a pause and reset. Right. And just by the conversation I had with them, I could see them leaving the dog park feeling a lot more chilled out about the situation than how they were coming in. So it's my intention to bring this to you as well, is just looking at things from kind of an objective perspective. So I just want to say, if you're afraid of getting the virus, okay, so when we actually boil things down, I have a low internet connection. I'm just going to swap off of Wi-Fi. Hopefully I don't lose this. I'm going to swap off of Wi-Fi and connect to my... All right, I'm back. And it should be good now. Yeah, I'm connected to 3G, so it should be all good. Okay, so I know I'm looking down on you guys. I don't want to be looking down on you guys, but that's just where my phone is right now. Let me try this. I could just lean over and talk more like this. That's probably better. Yeah. Okay. So everything here is shut down for 2 to 5 weeks minimum. There's no coming in and out of the country. Kids are coming home from school. Parents are staying home. Obviously, if you work from an office, you're now working from home. All of it, right? And it's a little bit crazy when you look at the situation. But this is an opportunity for people to come together as family and just spend time with family and do nothing, because there's literally no place for them to be. There's no work to go to. There is no no errands to run. You're not wandering around Costco or whatever, right? There's just no place to be other than right here, right now, with your family, at home, in nature, just chilling, right? And when you think about as a collective, I'm going to rewind here. Okay, so the ozone layer, in case you missed it, the ozone layer over China is already repairing itself. And China's, hi Kelsey, China's their downfall of the factories and stuff only really happened, the economic downturn only started happening probably the 2nd or 3rd week of January. So you have to think in 2 months, less than 2 months, Earth is already healing herself over China, the ozone layer. And the ecosystem in China is replenishing herself. It's already bouncing back. It's already showing new growth. It's already showing new light. So you have to actually take a step back and see, okay, yes, we've all been putting, everything's kind of shutting down. Things are a little bit crazy out there. But when you actually look at it is, think about if they take all the planes out of the sky for 2 weeks and everybody just comes to a halt. There's no place to be other than home, at home with your families. There's no running around. There's no over busying. Think about what that would do for our environment. Think of what a quantum leap forward that would give for our earth to replenish, to restore, right? And then also think about the aha awareness, click-ins that will happen with people. People are going to wake up in that time, because they're going to all of a sudden realize, holy shit, for the last 2 weeks, I actually feel like I can breathe. I didn't even know I wasn't breathing. And then they're going to really start to realize, wow, I didn't even realize how stressed I was. I didn't even realize that I work way too much. I didn't even realize how important this time right here, right now with my family is. Right? Just think about kind of the shifts that will happen and on a collective scale, because we're all in the same boat. We're all kind of everything's shutting down around us. So we're all in the same boat of no place to be other than right here, right now. So just think about that quantum leap forward that humanity will take in this reset, however long it's going to be, whether it's 2 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever. But then think of the quantum leap forward that Earth will take as well in her shifts of her healing, of replenishing her resources, of replenishing the ecosystem, of healing the ozone layer because there's not as much traffic out there. There's the airplanes are coming out of the sky and so forth, right? And I mean, all of this, everything has been come to a freezing halt over the fear that has rippled out through the media over something that's not as serious as your common influenza. 8,000 people every year die in Germany alone from your yearly flu, from influenza. We are maybe, 10 people have died in Germany from the flu, or from coronavirus. So when you really look at the statistics, if you have a compromised immune system, yes, you're going to have a harder time fighting it off, as is if you have the common cold or if you have the common flu, right? That's just how it is. And those people have to be extra careful. Those families, obviously you're not going to be wanting to go visit your grandparents in the home right now because you don't want to risk bringing something in there, right? So all of this has been brought to a screeching halt over and over, blown out of proportion situation. But when I actually tune into Mother Earth and tune into my guides and really, hi Renee, hello Allison, when I really tune into what's happening here, Mother Earth just says it's right on time. This is right on time. Everything is happening for a reason. The Galactic Federation, all hands are on deck. They're all here. They're helping out. And they're also rejoicing. They're celebrating because here it is. Here it is. We are in the opportunity for humanity to take a reset. This is it. We're all talking, we need to come into harmony with Earth so we don't get our butts booted off the planet. Well, guess what, kids? This is it. This is our opportunity to take a reset. Because how can we move into harmony and how can we shift the way that we've been living our day-to-day lives if we're still plugged into a system that is set up based on enslavement, where we are overworking ourselves to just get by, to just pay bills, how do we change and just snap our fingers and come into harmony with Earth when we are plugged into a matrix that does not support that? So in order for that to happen, those systems have to collapse. And guess what? We are now operating in the fifth dimension and above frequencies. We're operating at a higher bandwidth of frequencies because of these, Earth's frequency, the Schumann resonance, her heartbeat has been increasing exponentially over a course of however many years, and that's because of these extra solar blasts that we've been getting. Everything, the frequency is increasing. That's why we're going through a global collective awakening, right? Because whatever happens to Earth, as her frequency raises, so does ours. That's why people are starting to see through the illusions, because they're no longer in this fog of, being all tied down and fogged in with all these fear programmings. This whole, where am I going with this? Let me just backtrack here for a second. Okay, so Earth has already moved into a different dimension. Humanity is moving into a different dimension. And we know that what we see externally is the last piece of the puzzle to upgrade, right? Because when we're kind of tuning into being a manifester, whatever we create in our mind first in deep trance-like states, that's the first level of manifestation. And then the last thing to upgrade as we're manifesting is the external reality. That's the last piece of the puzzle. Okay, so all of these shifts of humanity, of coming into world peace, of coming into coming into harmony, of eradicating slavery, of eradicating poverty, of eradicating scarcity, all of it. That's already happened. It's already happened up in other dimensions, right? It's already been agreed upon. These contracts have already happened. And now the lower dimensional systems that have been built on fear, that have been built on separation, that have been built on enslavement, of corruption, of greed, all of it, that keep the rich rich and the poor poor, all of those systems that are very, very dense energy systems that are vibrating down here, they cannot energetically sustain and survive now that Earth is vibrating up here, now that humanity is moving up there, right? So we are now seeing the dismantling of those systems. Okay, so even though when we look around, things are chaotic as F out there, there is something incredibly beautiful happening. Incredibly beautiful. Humanity is coming together. Community is coming together. We were remembering what's important. We're being forced to actually stay home for a hot second and enjoy our families. Oh no, right? So in that time where we're being forced to unplug, to, not go to work, to just chill at home, we're going to remember what's important. And think about the frequency, like the massive quantum leap in frequency that we will take in that time of just being. When we disengage from the overstimulation of the matrix that we're plugged into and we just chill. Think of all the downloads that are going to come in, because here's the thing. So many people are so disconnected from those downloads, from those light codes that are coming through, because they are so connected to the external reality and the overbusying and the hustling that they're not receiving those. They're not receiving those messages. But if they actually slow down, they're going to start to receive those. They're going to start to see things a little bit clearer. So what we're seeing right now is the dismantling process of those systems that have kept us in separation, that have kept us in lack, that have kept us in poverty, that have kept us in enslavement. They're all crumbling away. And it looks a little bit chaotic. But what we can do in this time is hold our light and hold our trust and hold our peace, knowing that this is all in divine timing. This is all part of divine plan, and something beautiful is being born as a result of this. Where humanity is actually living in harmony, that are living in one, as one community, rather than all the separation agendas, these systems are going to start to be put in place. The crumbling of these systems are making way for new Earth to really be born, of systems that support world peace, systems that support harmony, systems that support family time, systems that support vitality rather than illness. Okay, so it is so important. Just like when Australia was on fire, and all of us tuned into our meditative states, and we saw rain. We sent rain Australia's way, and guess what? It poured. The skies opened, and it poured and put those fires out. So much so, apparently there was a cyclone after. Okay. So we all need to have the same intention, hold the intention of world peace, of harmony, of ease, of compassion. Rather than playing into this whole fear timeline like, shit, we're in the apocalypse, rather than playing into that, see the earth coming together, see humanity coming together. Okay? It's already happening. We're just kind of seeing the beginning of it. Okay? So it's so easy to get sucked into the fear and really get pulled off your center. But I want you to just take a few deep breaths and connect to that divine spark within you, connect to your love within your heart, and connect to that peace, knowing that something so beautiful is going to come of this. It's already happening. It's already been upgraded in the higher dimensions, and it's just coming down now. We are seeing the dismantling of those systems of greed, of separation, of enslavement, of poverty, of scarcity. We're seeing it all collapsing. And it's going to be so beautiful on the other side of this. So to help make this transition easier for humanity, we just have to hold our peace. We just have to hold our light, hold our love, and project that around us to keep calm in the chaos. You know, last night I had a conversation with my parents, and my parents usually are very, they usually get quite sucked into the news and the fear-mongering and all of it. And it was actually a very peaceful and positive conversation of like, Dad just said, yeah, we just have to stay positive, and, this is going to be really good for Earth, and this is going to be really good for the ozone layer. This is going to be really good for families to come together. It's all going to be really good. Everyone's going to be forced to just stop and just be with their families, be at home, do nothing, be with nature, just chill. And it's going to be really, really great for humanity. And I was just so freaking proud of him with how far he's come. So I just want to encourage you to do the same thing, of just radiate that peace around you, radiate that love and that joy around you, because it makes a huge, huge difference. People are freaked out, but we actually don't have any reason to freak out. Something beautiful is coming of this, okay? So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think there's anything else that needs to come through. Yeah, don't worry about getting the virus. If you have a strong immune system, you'll fight it off no problem if you happen to get it, but it really is not as dangerous as the common influenza that people get in the winter times. And just be mindful. Just be mindful and stay in your light. Don't pay attention to all the fear-mongering that's happening. Just be in a place of trust, and it's all going to work out. I love you all. Thank you for watching, and sending you much ease, sending you much love, and just stay in peace. You're making a huge, huge difference with just staying in your heart. Just enjoy this wave. There's something very, very incredible that's happening here. Bye, guys.